Part 23. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 221. At this moment, countless creatures in the outer domain and the fairyland were filled with horror, their mouths opened as if they could fit a pig. Then, they kept rubbing their eyes, trying to confirm that what was happening in front of them was not a dream or an illusion. The human race, it's our human emperor, am I seeing it right? Emperor Baiyu, Emperor Zhongmo, Empress Xiangxia, and that one, our human myth emperor, Emperor Tianming. It's them, they are really the ancestors of our human race. Human race, welcome the return of the ancestors. Human race, welcome the return of the ancestors. Countless human creatures, at this moment, their eyes were red and they cried with joy. These emperors were the emperors who fell for the entire human race. I don't know how much regret they have left for this. How is this possible? Didn't the ancestor of the Jun family die countless years ago? Why, was he resurrected? Not only that, but there is also the one of the Zhang family. These are all emperors who have died countless years ago. Damn, could it be that all these dozens of emperors have been resurrected, or that all the emperors of the fairyland can be resurrected? No. It's impossible. If it's true, then it's a real hammer. That Lord is the creator of the beginning and the world of the heavens and the worlds. Before all living beings can calm down their emotions, the formation glows again, and then hundreds of rays of light are refracted down. As a result, as everyone expected, they are all fallen emperors of the fairyland. Again. It's confirmed. My guess is absolutely correct. Only the creator has such great power. Wait, isn't that the emperor who died in the battle of the Emperor's Fall? Damn, these hundreds of statues, could it be that the Lord really wants to resurrect all the fallen emperors in our fairyland? Hee, I'm numb, it doesn't matter, I'm used to it, I don't care, even if it's the creation of the primordial era, I'm not surprised. This Lord, this person is so scary, what kind of creature is this? Can this small temple in our fairyland really accommodate this big Buddha? Then, under the leadership of Emperor Xuanhuan, Suwu, and others, they all shouted. We, the creatures of the fairyland, welcome the Emperor back. We, the younger generation of the fairyland, welcome the Emperor back. Woo, welcome the ancestor back to the fairyland. At this moment, these hundreds of emperors were all confused, looking at each other, as if to say, where am I, what am I going to do? Damn, I can feel it. Are we really resurrected? I can't feel it. Didn't we die in the battle of the Emperor's Fall? Could it be that the battle was just an illusion? Damn, that's too awesome. It can be hidden from all the heavens and the worlds. Although it's unreal, I can clearly feel that I have an hour of lifespan. We, too. Then, the Void Emperor stood up to explain. My emperors, I am the Void Emperor, the controller of the Immortal clan. Damn, leader. The Immortal clan emperors said blankly. Don't doubt it. You have indeed been resurrected, and you are still at your peak, but it's only for an hour. After an hour, you will still disappear in the long river of history. The Void Emperor said slowly. Nothingness, what's going on? Yes, explain it quickly, what's going on with those foreign emperors, why there are still supreme beings. Everyone, as you can see, the foreign domain is now attacking our fairyland. Emperor Su said with a wronged look. What, you are tired of living in the foreign domain, right? You are still thieves. You bastards, you want to die, right? Today, I will kill you for the creatures in the fairyland. In an instant, these hundreds of emperors burst out with the imperial power that could overthrow everything. Each of them stared at those foreign creatures, and their eyes were full of people. Gurgle. Gurgle. These foreign emperors, looking at the hundreds of fairyland emperors in front of them, felt their murderous intent, and trembled in their hearts, shivering, and their eyes were full of "I don't believe it." The murderous intent emanating from hundreds of emperors together, even these 5 supremes felt a little tricky. "Nothingness, you haven't said it yet, it was that senior who had such means to resurrect us." "Yes, great Emperor Nothingness, hurry up and say it, don't hold it back." At this time, Li Bai slowly appeared in front of the emperors, staring at these emperors, like the lord of 10,000 emperors, exuding a supreme aura all over his body. "It's me," Li Bai said lightly. "You are, why do I feel so familiar?" At this time, those emperors who fell in the battle of the Emperor's Fall, after seeing Li Bai, their minds roared, like the thunder of the 9 heavens, bombarding their hearts. They never forgot this face until they died. "You are, Li Bai Yi. Li Bai Yi." Some emperors said with red eyes, their hatred for Li Bai has reached the point of indignation of both humans and gods. "Sir. Sir, is it really you, sir? Woo woo, finally meet you, sir. Bai Yu meets you, sir." On the other side, the human emperor, after seeing Li Bai, immediately shed a line of tears. Different from the emotions of the other emperors, they were excited, shocked, and incredible. "Tianming, Baiyu, Xiangxia, Zhongmo, long time no see," Li Bai said with a smile, and at this moment his heart was also slightly surging. These emperors followed him through life and death without any complaints. Seeing them again, if it is said that there is no ripple in the heart, it is absolutely impossible. "My lord, I didn't expect that I could really see you again. You don't know that I have a lot of things to say," Emperor Tianming said excitedly. "Okay, Tianming, you are also a mythical emperor. How can the human race look at you like this? He, isn't this exciting?" Emperor Tianming scratched his head and said, "My lord, I am Zhongmo. Well, I know about the burial ground, and I am proud of you," Li Bai said with a smile. "Ha ha ha ha, Baiyu, Xiangxia, did you hear that? The adults said they are proud of me, proud of me." The End Emperor cried like a child. When he fell in the burial ground, his last wish was to see Li Bai again. Although there were rumors that Li Bai had fallen, the emperors scoffed at this. Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 222. Li Bai, die. At this moment, an emperor who was blinded by hatred, with courage from nowhere, rushed directly to Li Bai. This scene directly made countless emperors' brains crash. Although they also hated Li Bai very much, they still knew their own strengths. It can only be said that this emperor is too brave. "Oh, I gave you a chance to revive, are you brave?" Li Bai said lightly, and then just glanced at this emperor lightly. Puff! In an instant, this emperor turned into nothingness, and just like that, he died again in the hands of Li Bai. Seeing all this, all the emperors were silent. "Ha ha, what a fool, dying once is not enough, he even wants to experience it a second time. Tisk tisk, we are just talking, why does this guy take it seriously? Remember, I can kill you the first time, and I can kill you the second time. If there are blind things again, I don't mind letting you experience the pain of the past again," Li Bai said lightly. He, sir, look at what you said, how dare we? That's right, that's right. We have brains, and we will never dare to act rashly. Dozens of emperors said hurriedly, because they probably guessed that it was Li Bai who resurrected them, and only this big pervert had such ability. "Emperors, this is what happened." Afterwards, Emperor Suwu, Emperor Xuanhuan and others gradually explained the whole thing clearly. "Sure enough, my guess is right. Only this lord can pull off this kind of heaven-defying method. You can let go of the grudges between me or not. Remember, I will give you another hour of life. Li Bai said slowly to the emperors. After a long time. Alas, forget it. That was a matter of an era ago. From our respective standpoints, no one is right or wrong. Today, we have only one mission, to kill those foreign emperors. No matter what, we are all immortal beings, and we should do something for the younger generation. That's right. Your Excellency has given us another chance. We must do something for the immortal realm. We can't embarrass ourselves in front of the younger generation of the immortal realm. I can't afford to lose face. I can't be famous for thousands of years, nor can I be infamous for thousands of years. Then, all the emperors knelt down and shouted. Thank you, Your Excellency has given us another life. We will definitely open up a bright road for the immortal realm. Second. Okay, get up quickly. We are all emperors. How can we kneel down? Now, we are all on the same front. Li Bai waved his hand and said. Yes, sir. Li Bai, what a trick. You are indeed the biggest anomaly in the mouths of those creatures. We didn't expect that you would have such great power to go against the truth and let these emperors revive with their peak strength. But, do you think that you can fight us with them? You know, none of them have a supreme one. The tone of the Yuanxu creatures was not the slightest wave, because the supreme is the supreme. Even if they have more people, it is nothing more than a waste of time for them. At this level, the gap can no longer be made up by numbers. Why, are you afraid? Besides, why are you so anxious? There is more. Li Bai said with a smile. Huh. Before the Yuanxu creatures finished speaking, the door of reincarnation was slowly opened again. Boom. A road was slowly paved out from it, and then, in the entire vast universe, bright red petals continued to fall, like a flower rain. On this road, gorgeous red spider lilies continued to bloom, forming a sea of red spider lilies, which was magnificent and extremely charming, making people feel as if they had already stepped into the road of reincarnation. Red spider lilies, could it be that empress? Empress? Yes, the reincarnation master of our time, the queen of the other shore. Damn, it really is that one. In front of the red spider lilies, reincarnation is finally seen. Hiss, doesn't that mean that the green emperor? Hush, be patient, just watch quietly. Then, from the gate of reincarnation, a peerless woman in a fairy dress slowly walked out. It was the queen of the other shore, a half-step supreme. At this moment, she was different from the phantom that appeared in the dark valley last time. At this moment, she was the real body of the queen of the other shore. Her face was so beautiful that she didn't look like a product of living beings at all, as if the creator could fabricate it according to perfection. The flower of the other shore between her eyebrows makes her look even more charming and exotic. Sister Bayan, sister, Nanyi finally sees you. Nanyi said, looking at the empress of the other shore in fascination. Damn, this is too beautiful, De Huang, am moved. De Huang said while licking his saliva. Chang Kun, did you see that? This empress of the other shore is the lord of the previous generation, the lord of reincarnation, and what you have been looking for all your life. Emperor Zhongsheng said slowly to Zhang Changkun beside him. Well, ancestor, Changkun understands. I will definitely work hard to get the recognition of the reincarnation and become the lord of reincarnation of this era. When Zhang Changkun saw the queen of the other shore, his eyes shone with dazzling light. Ha ha ha, good, you have ambition, but you should do everything within your ability and remember not to rush for quick success. After all, the queen of the other shore was born in the land of reincarnation. She spent countless years to become the master of reincarnation. You still have a long way to go. Ancestor, Changkun knows. Then, the queen of the other shore, with her bare jade feet, walked in the void and came in front of the emperors. With every step she took, a flower of the other shore would appear behind her. Wow, so beautiful, how can there be such a woman in the world? I am a girl, I am about to fall. Sister, love me, I can do it. I dare not imagine how fragrant and soft she will be. Hee, coward, I dare to imagine. Courageous. Then, all the emperors bowed respectfully to the empress of the other shore. We, meet the Lord of Reincarnation, the empress of the other shore. However, at this moment, there is only one person in the eyes of the empress of the other shore. My lord, the other shore finally sees you in this posture. The empress of the other shore left a line of tears, and after saying that, she rushed directly into Li Bai's arms. At this moment, the empress of the other shore was crying, without the power of the Lord of Reincarnation, more like a little girl who found her home. The other shore, long time no see. Li Bai touched the beautiful hair of the empress of the other shore and said slowly. We've sir, Baian really, misses you so much, so much, so much. Okay, you are so old, why are you still crying? Then, Li Bai pushed the Queen of Baian away and slowly reached out to wipe her tears. Feeling this scene, the Queen of Baian's tears were like a flood, and she couldn't stop it at all, because she thought of Li Bai wiping her tears like this when she was very young. Li Bai was quite helpless about this, but he couldn't hit her or scold her. It is said that women are made of water, and this sentence is indeed true. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 223. On the other side, in the small world of the fairyland. Ah, this little bitch, I haven't hugged Bai before, I'm so angry, I'm whiter than her, my legs are longer than her, my breasts are bigger than her, and I'm still alive, what's wrong with me? The daughter of Destiny was furious. Hee, pay attention, do you want to listen to what you are saying? The little girl said helplessly, this daughter of Destiny was insane, poisoned too deeply, she felt that she had an obligation to save an ignorant girl who had lost her way. Tisk tisk, women, they are all love-brained, what's good about falling in love? Shut up, single dog. Shut up, single dog. The heavenly Deo and the daughter of Destiny cursed at the same time. The son of Karma looked at the two of them, blinked blankly, as if you two were not single dogs, no, one single dog, one female lick dog. Then, the queen of the other shore, without paying any attention to the dog food looks in the eyes of others, kept telling Li Bai everything she wanted to say before. Originally thought that after that time in the dark valley, it would be the last time for her to meet Li Bai, but she didn't expect that this time, she could face Li Bai with her real body. For all this, Li Bai was listening quietly, without any impatience, after all, this was what he owed. Okay, the other shore, the most important thing right now is those things. Li Bai patted the other shore on the back and said slowly. Yeah. Then, the queen of the other shore returned to her previous attitude of ignoring everything and said to the creatures of Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan, I didn't expect that you would become the running dogs of the ancient clan. It's really ridiculous. The other shore, you are not qualified to talk about us. Don't forget, you are just a half-step supreme. Even if you are the Lord of Reincarnation, don't forget how you got this identity. Besides, your reincarnation is useless to us. Xuanhuan said silently and slightly annoyed. Anxious, he is anxious. Oh, really, then let's try it. The queen of the other shore's eyes condensed, and a terrifying reincarnation aura burst out of her body, as if she was the master of reincarnation. At this moment, she was like a lord of reincarnation, in charge of the reincarnation of all things in the world. Don't worry, none of you five can escape, Everyone has a share. Li Bai said slowly to the 5 emperors, his words full of inexplicable meaning. Boom. In an instant, like nesting dolls, 2 breaths filled the entire vast universe again. Damn, here we go again. First it was the female emperor on the other side who had a close relationship with the adults, and the next one could be the Green Emperor. Countless chaos green lotuses slowly bloomed in the vast universe, and the green light filled the entire universe, as if entering the green lotus world. Each chaos green lotus exuded an unparalleled power of chaos, as if it was the original product of the chaos era. Then, a giant chaos green lotus that seemed to be able to connect all the worlds emerged in the interweaving of countless green lights. The 36 petals of the green lotus quietly bloomed, like a new era was bred. Boom. An aura that was infinitely close to the Supreme was constantly surging. A figure slowly appeared in front of all living beings. He seemed to be bred from the chaos green lotus. He was dressed in green, looked like a man and a woman, and was extremely beautiful. It was impossible to tell his gender. In that pair of blue eyes, 2 chaos blue lotuses were nurtured. This person was the Green Emperor, the ancestor of the human race, and one of the top 100 emperors on the Eternal Emperor list. Time and space seemed to have been stopped by someone, and fell into a dead silence. Qingxian, Yi Di, and countless other human emperors and creatures seemed to have been bombarded by the punishment of the heavens after seeing the appearance of the Green Emperor. At this moment, all words could not describe their excitement. Because they saw the savior of the human race, the ancestor of the human race, the founder of the Wanqi Academy, the Green Emperor. The ancestor of the Green Emperor, ha 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 ha, it's really the ancestor of the Green Emperor. I didn't expect that I, Qingxian, could actually see the ancestor of the Green Emperor in my life. Even if I die, it's worth it? Qingxian stared at the Green Emperor and choked up. As the oldest group of people in the existing Wanqi Academy, the obsession of wanting to see the Green Emperor has been integrated into his blood. Kingdi, it's really our Kingdi, no longer a phantom, but a real body. We of you, Kingdi, we, the younger generation, miss you so much. Did you see it? Did you see it? This is our Kingdi, the savior of our human race. Kingdi, the ancestor of the human race, is glorious for all eternity, and all demons and gods listen to it. Kingdi, the ancestor of the human race, is glorious for all eternity, and all demons and gods listen to it. Countless human races knelt down and prayed devoutly. In the hearts of their human race, Kingdi is more important than Li Bai. Kingdi is still Kingdi without the human race, but if the human race does not have Kingdi, it may not be here now. Countless invisible powers of faith merged into Kingdi's body. At this moment, the seeds of faith in Kingdi's body also changed. Countless golden lights penetrated the body surface, forming a layer of light golden light. This is the guardian of faith, which can resist the invasion of darkness. I, finally saw the human race again with my own eyes. Kingdi looked at the human creatures one by one and said with emotion. Before he fell, he was most concerned about 2 things, one was Li Bai, and the other was the development of the human race. As a chaotic creature, Kingdi may not be perfect, but as the ancestor of the human race, Kingdi must be the most perfect existence, unshakable. Then, Kingdi walked step by step to Li Bai, choking and said, "My lord, Xiaoqing, I finally see you in this way. Yes, I finally see you again." Li Bai sighed, his tone full of regret. Hearing this, Kingdi's tears slowly fell, dripping in the endless universe. A tear is a chaos blue lotus. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Benpao de la Chang. Chapter 224. Qing Emperor, Cry. As the ancestor of the human race, no matter what he encountered, even at the moment of death, he was always calm and calm. Even when he died, he did so without any regrets. But the moment he saw Li Bai, the Qing emperor who had shone for eternity cried like a child. It was he who was sorry for Li Bai, not Li Bai who was sorry for him. Sir, Xiao Qing is back. Although it is only for an hour, I can still see you in this body. Xiao Qing has no regrets. King Di stood in front of Li Bai and choked with sobs. Yeah, I know. Li Bai seemed to say calmly, but his eyes were trembling all the time. Although King Di and he did not have the name of master and disciple, in Li Bai's heart, King Di had already become his disciple. Brother King Di. When the empress of the other shore saw Qing Emperor, she shouted with great excitement, and then ran directly to Qing Emperor. Long time no see, little Bianan, I didn't expect you to look so graceful now. Haha, I remember when we parted for the last time, you were still a little girl who only knew how to act like a spoiled brat. King Di smiled and touched Bian's head and said dotingly, like the big brother next door. Brother King Di, have you also been resurrected by Master? The empress of the other shore cried and said that there were three most important men in his life, one was Li Bai, the other was the Qing Emperor, and the first generation of Emperor Kongpu. Li Bai is more often the actor who plays her master. As for the Qing Emperor and the first generation Chongtong, they are her senior brother and second senior brother. But now, this family is simply the sect that should not be offended, not to mention that there are countless unnatural beings under Li Bai who are not disciples, but are better than disciples. In one sentence, it is not an exaggeration to call Li Bai the master of all emperors. Little Bianan, why, don't you miss me? At this moment, a sound spread through the formation to the entire world. An invincible power of double pupil swept across the entire world, and countless creatures were stunned, because this power of double pupil was much, much stronger than the double pupil emperor. Could it be? That's right, the invincible double pupil is definitely the first generation. Today I have really opened my eyes. I have witnessed so many ancient emperors, as well as those legendary emperors. I will die without regrets. Of course, the ones who are most sensitive to this aura are the Emperor of Nirvana and the Emperor of Double Eyes. Old friend, it's really you. First generation senior. Immediately afterwards, an ordinary-looking man stepped on the eternal time and space, stepping on the heavens and slowly came to the eyes of all living beings. The man was dressed in coarse linen clothes, with soft cheek lines. He was filled with an invincible aura, and he was walking an invincible road. This man was the first generation Chongpudong Emperor. Brother Chongtong. The empress of the other shore said excitedly, she was really like a quirky little junior sister at this moment. Little Bianan, long time no see. The first generation Chongtong Emperor said with a smile, just like Qing Emperor, he touched Bian's little head when he came up. Chongtong, meet my lord. Immediately, the first generation Chongtong said respectfully to Li Bai. Well, just come back. Old friend, it's really you. Immediately, Emperor Nirvana and Emperor Kongpu rushed to the first generation, both of them seemed extremely excited. Haha, what do you think, old friend? The junior, with double eyes, has met the first generation. Emperor Chongtong said with great respect. Thank you for your hard work, kid. Now, you can finally take charge of your own business. An inexplicable emotion flashed through the eyes of the first generation Chongtong, and he gently pulled up Chongtong who was kneeling on the ground. Senior and junior, as owners of the invincible double eyes, we must not disgrace the name of the invincible double eyes, so it's not hard work. It's just that before this junior has always regarded you as a target to catch up and surpass, so much so that he wanted to become the second you, but as a result. Emperor Chongtong said bitterly. Child, this is not your problem. I know that as the second generation of double pupils, you will have huge pressure from me. But in the end, you finally realized it, right? Senior, I owe all of this to you and Senior Nirvana for your guidance. Otherwise, I might still not understand my own path. The Chongtong Emperor said slowly. Hey, old friend, thank you again. The first generation thanked Emperor Nirvana. Ha 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 ha, old friend, this little thing is nothing. I can see you, my lifelong enemy, again, and I'm already fulfilled. Okay everyone, it's not too late to reminisce about old times after killing them. King Di said slowly to the emperors. Haha, there are 5 supreme creatures in Yuanxu. You really think highly of our fairyland? The first generation Chongtong said calmly. It's a pity that he ended up becoming the lackey of the ancient clan. King Di interrupted. It's just a lackey. The empress of the other shore also echoed. You, a group of beings who have not yet reached the supreme being are seeking death. At this time, the 5 supreme beings of Yuanxu finally couldn't bear it any longer and directly launched a battle against Qing Emperor and others. Well done, my Qing Emperor, I want to see how powerful Yuanxu Supreme can be. Ha ha ha, I'm coming too. And me. Then, the Green Emperor, the first generation double pupil emperor and the other shore empress all stepped forward to fight. Old friend, wait for me, this time, we are finally no longer opponents. The great Emperor Jimmy said anxiously. Boom. Then, the war between the emperors broke out again. However, this time, the number of emperors in the fairyland can be said to crush the outer domain. They can't resist just these hundreds of resurrected emperors. In that case, let me show you the real gap with the Supreme. Yuanxu Supreme roared. Then, the emperors opened up countless small worlds again. Amitba, I'm coming too. The great Sun Tathagata said solemnly. After all, he had promised Li Bai, so he naturally had to completely end this cause and effect. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 225. Chaos Green Lotus Formation. The Green Emperor roared, and in an instant, countless Chaos Green Lotuses formed a heaven-destroying formation, burying Yuanxu Wushang. Haha, let me see how strong the Green Emperor in the top 100 of the Eternal Emperor list is. Yuanxu Wushang said disdainfully. The abyss swallows all the worlds, and everything will eventually become dead silence. Boom. The world opened up by the 2 people was directly blown into nothingness, but then countless worlds wrapped the 2 people in it. After all, the life and death duel between the Supremes may accidentally smash a corner of the eternal barrier into countless pieces. Then, the 2 people's taboo moves fought countless rounds in this space, and every collision was enough to annihilate the creatures of a fairyland. This is a duel of the strongest techniques. The Great Dao merges, the Chaos Master. The Chaos Realm, manifest. The Green Emperor's eyes flashed with endless murderous intent, and the 12 main Great Daos, plus the complete version of the Chaos Dao emerged. The most primitive Chaos Chi continued to emerge, and the Chaos Mist covered the sky and the sun. The entire space returned to the Chaos era again. Then, countless visions emerged behind the Green Emperor, including visions of various heaven-defying physiques, the Great Dao flying Immortals, the Immortal King coming to the 9 heavens, the Chaos planting Blue Lotus, the 6 reincarnation diagrams. At this moment, the Green Emperor held a Chaos Blue Lotus in his hand and stepped on the Chaos. He was surrounded by countless Chaos Blue Lotus Chi, as if he was the spokesperson of the Chaos world. As expected of the Chaos Green Lotus body, it can actually imitate so many powerful physiques, it's really terrifying. But, fortunately, you finally fell. This Supreme Yuanxu, looking at these scenes that shocked the ages, couldn't help but sigh. If the Green Emperor hadn't fallen, given enough time, one day in the future, he could really overthrow the entire Yuanxu by himself. They didn't want to see this result. So what, even if I fell, your Yuanxu would eventually be swept away by the adults, no. Not just your Yuanxu, but the entire world. We will finally see the light on this road. The tone of the Green Emperor was no longer the same as before, the elegant young man, but more like an ancient god whispering. Ha ha ha, King Di, I can only say that you are too naive. We admit that Li Bai is indeed awesome and the greatest anomaly in the ages, but this does not mean that he can fight against the origin. Besides, he buried something that may be crucial in our Yuanxu back then, so he would not touch our Yuanxu unless it was absolutely necessary. Yuanxu Supreme said confidently, which is one of the reasons why they dared to help the ancient clan. Hearing this, King Di raised his eyebrows and sneered suddenly. Oh? Are you so sure that the Lord has not obtained the thing buried in Yuanxu now? Huh? What do you mean? Yuanxu Supreme heard this and immediately felt a little uneasy. It's nothing, I just want to say that you underestimate adults too much. Have you heard a saying? Humph, what is that? Yuanxu Wushang said coldly. He never believed that Li Bai had obtained that thing. After all, he had never appeared in Yuanxu once since he woke up. He could feel it for every creature that entered Yuanxu, without exception. Adults exist in the past and in the future, and any creature in the heavens and the worlds may be adults, and adults may also be any one of you. King Di said slowly. You fart. Hearing this, Yuanxu Wushang said disdainfully. If that was true, how could Li Bai be imprisoned by those creatures for countless epochs at that time? Forget it, I can't explain it to you clearly. Today, I, King Di, the ancestor of the human race, will kill Wushang. Chaos Green Lotus Fist. Boom. After finishing speaking, these visions, the laws of the great Dao, and the divine patterns were all added to the fists of the Green Emperor, and pushed out horizontally, as if this punch could restart the entire universe. The secret of the Great Abyss. On the other side, the battlefield of the Queen of the Other Shore. The secret of reincarnation. The Queen of the Other Shore shouted angrily, and 99 reincarnation flowers turned into human figures. This was the result of the Queen of the Other Shore reincarnation 99 times. Each human figure had the same power as the Great Emperor. Thousands of flowers fall, forming their own world. Today, there is a grass that can kill the Emperor, and in ancient times, there was a petal of a flower that formed its own world. Reincarnation kill on the other shore. Accompanied by the Queen of the Other Shore muttering to herself, in an instant, these 99 human figures continued to merge into the body of the Queen of the Other Shore. At this moment, the power of the Queen of the Other Shore reached its peak, infinitely close to the Supreme, and the next few reincarnation bodies, every time one merged into the body of the Queen of the Other Shore, this gap was infinitely narrowed. Yuanxu buries all the worlds. Yuanxu Wushang, feeling that the realm between the Queen of the Other Shore and himself was shrinking infinitely, frowned. He really didn't expect that the Queen of the Other Shore's move would be so terrifying. As expected of the Lord of Reincarnation, one of the Chaos secret arts. But, it's not enough. Boom. After the attack, countless small worlds were shattered, and it seemed that billions of lives had fallen in them. Puff. Puff. The Queen of the Other Shore and Yuanxu Wushang both spit out blood at the same time. However, Yuanxu Wushang's eyes were obviously filled with horror. How is this possible? You obviously don't have Wushang, how can you fight me to a draw? Hee, you understand too late, and you will never know this secret. The Queen of the Other Shore stood in the void and said coldly. The gate of samsara, give me power, reincarnation for eternity. The Queen of the Other Shore roared, and a strand of red lines continued to flow into the gate of samsara. The ancient bronze gate exuded the most primitive aura of the beginning, and at this moment it made a buzzing sound, as if responding to the Queen of the Other Shore. Your imperial weapon is actually, the gate of samsara. No, it's impossible. Even the Lord of Samsara can't do it. Yuanxu Wushang shouted at the top of his lungs. He was not surprised that the queen of the other shore became the lord of Samsara, but he was horrified that the gate of Samsara itself became her imperial weapon. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 226. You can't guess what I'm capable of. The Empress of the other shore said disdainfully. That's right, this gate of reincarnation was a gift from Li Bai to the Empress of the other side when she became the great emperor. She was so frightened that she couldn't close her eyes for several days. Today will be the burial place of your Yuanxu creatures. In the name of my Lord of Reincarnation, I will be buried in reincarnation and suffer the pain of reincarnation for eternity. After finishing speaking, the two giant bronze doors of the gate of reincarnation slowly opened, and the gray vortex continued to rotate, as if it was sucking the entire world into reincarnation. In the end, a vortex of reincarnation burst out and rushed straight to Yuanxu Supreme, accompanied by countless gray reincarnation threads, trying to directly tie Yuanxu Supreme to death. Don't fart, I am the Supreme, the Eternal Supreme. Yuanxu Burial. The Supreme Finger. Chaos Combat Technique, the light of destruction of the source of heaven. The creatures in Yuanxu, with their eyes red, kept firing out the most powerful moves. The vortexes of reincarnation were being annihilated one after another, and the threads of reincarnation were being cut off. However, the number of these vortexes seemed to be endless. The Sword of Six Paths of Reincarnation. When Bayan saw this scene, he roared angrily, and then the entire gate of reincarnation transformed directly into a long sword. Engraved on the body of the sword are flowers of the other side, a path of reincarnation and a diagram of the reincarnation of all spirits. The power of the six paths, added to my body, reincarnation kill. The Empress of the other shore held the reincarnation sword, and six gray vortexes suddenly appeared. These were the six paths of reincarnation for ordinary creatures. Among them, the human race's one was the most dazzling. Brush. Six sword rays were swung out from six whirlpools. This sword seems to be able to reincarnate the entire universe for countless epochs. Seeing this scene, Yuanxu Supreme became even more angry. Even if you can control the gate of reincarnation, you can still humming transform. Really, it has no dignity at all from the original things. The other side. The first generation Chong pupil emperor also had a fierce fight with the Yuanxu Supreme, and the sky was dark and the earth was dark. Compared with the double eye technique performed by the heavy eye emperor, the power of the first generation double eye can be said to be countless times stronger. There is no way to compare the two. After all, I am me. The meaning of life and death in his eyes alone is incomparable to the Chongtong emperor. One look at life, one look at death. As expected of you, the invincible double pupil, a figure on the ancient emperor list. Even if he has not reached the supreme level, he still makes me such a troublesome person. Yuanxu said with supreme appreciation. I can only say that you Yuanxu are too stupid to attack any place. You have to choose the immortal domain. The first generation Chongtong said slowly. This is understandable. Your fairyland is so unnatural that we cannot stay here. There are a total of 20 of you in the immortal realm among the top 100 on the Eternal Emperor list. Naturally, there are countless pairs of eyes in all the heavens and worlds, staring at the immortal realm, a place that can be called a legend. You know, there have been countless rumors that your fairyland was once the place where the light exploded in the primordial era. Do you know how tempting this is to us? Yuanxu said helplessly, if he had achieved enlightenment in the immortal realm, he might have gone one step further and found a legendary path of exploration. So what, yes or no, what does it have to do with you? The immortal realm is always the place for the creatures of our immortal realm, and no outsiders are allowed to overstep it. The Chongtong Emperor frowned and said, he had never heard of what Yuan Su Supreme just said, especially the last sentence, where the light of the beginning exploded. The relationship is huge. You must know that our Yuanxu is a quiet place. If we can occupy your immortal domain, haha, this is why, among all the worlds, your immortal domain is suffered the most attacks, the reason for the catastrophe of the era. You should not exist in the long history. There is no need for such an awesome place to exist in all the worlds. In the last sentence, Yuanxu Supreme carries the anger that burns all worlds. Why, they have to stay in that shabby place instead of the creatures in the fairyland. This is unfair. Of course, there is no fairness in the world. This kind of fair scale only exists in the hands of those who originated it. What they say and do is what determines fairness. In the ensuing battle, creatures from the outside world continued to fall one after another. In just a few minutes, the number of quasi-emperors and great emperors in the outer domain was reduced by more than half. Many of the remaining great emperors have already begun to think about retreating. They cannot defeat the current immortal realm at all. Yuanxu Wushang, who was fighting against King Di and the others, was frowning more and more. King Di and the others had clearly not reached the level of Wushang, but how could they be evenly matched with them, and even vaguely have the upper hand? This is our Qing Emperor. He has clearly not reached the Supreme, but he can compete with the Supreme. He is worthy of being the ancestor of the human race. Not only that, the Empress of the other shore and the first generation Double Eyes are also like this. They are worthy of being among the top 100 creatures on the Eternal Emperor list. This is too terrifying. Boom. While everyone was still discussing and sighing, after an explosion, the Empress of the other shore was the first to end the battle. At this moment, the Empress of the other shore was covered in blood, and the flower of the other shore under her feet was soaked in blood, making it even more enchanting, flashing with wisps of red light. And that Yuan Su has disappeared. Hiss, that Supreme Yuan Su. Horror, he's dead. Didn't they say that the Supreme is immortal? That depends on the situation and the person. For the Myth Emperor, the Supreme is indeed immortal, but if both parties are supreme, it's hard to say. The Supreme must have a way to kill the other. Then, the Queen of the other shore gently exhaled a breath of turbid air, and in an instant, the gate of reincarnation appeared, and a figure was being sucked into the grey vortex. This was the soul of the Supreme Yuanxu. I am the Supreme, immortal, Lord of Reincarnation, you can't kill me. Ha 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 ha, you can't kill me. After tens of millions of epochs, I will still reincarnate successfully. At that time, we will still attack the immortal realm. The Supreme Yuanxu was still trying and struggling, but he could never escape the gravity of the vortex. Boom. After a series of unwilling sounds, the gate of reincarnation slowly closed and gradually disappeared into the universe. It seems that the Supreme Yuanxu has never appeared. At this point, the two worlds finally fought, and the Supreme finally died. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 227. Is he dead? Has the Yuanxu Supreme really fallen? No, it's gone anyway. It's probably gone. Even if it's not gone, it probably won't be much better. Boom. Immediately, deafening cheers erupted in the immortal realm, and the sound swept across like an overwhelming mountain. Their Empress actually went against the enemy and successfully killed a Supreme King. This was a deed that could glorify the heavens. Afterwards, the Empress of the other shore slowly returned to Li Bai and said with shame, Sir, the other side is useless. I can only send him to reincarnation and bear the pain of reincarnation for eternity. You are already very good, Qing Emperor and the others, but they have practiced countless years before you. Besides, you have not yet reached the Supreme. Being able to do this does not disgrace the title of Lord of Reincarnation. He, that's good. When the empress of the other side heard Li Bai's compliment, she smiled innocently, like a little girl who was rewarded with a white rabbit. However, the next moment, the eyes of the empress of the other side were filled with disappointment. After all, she had already fallen, and although this body lasted for an hour, the consumption just now was too huge and could not last much longer. Sir, from now on, will I really never see you again? This time, the empress of the other shore did not cry, because she was already very satisfied with everything so far. After saying these words, the body of the empress of the other shore gradually became transparent and fell into pieces bit by bit. Don't worry, I will get you all back sooner or later. Remember, it's all of you. After all, you are so cute, I can't bear to see you really fall. And in that place, those guys will die in my hands sooner or later. Li Bai touched Bian's head and said firmly. These words may sound like fantasy to others, but the empress of the other side firmly believes in this. For countless epochs, as long as what Li Bai has said, no matter how many epochs have passed, it will eventually come true. He wants to prove to those creatures, and he also wants to use the blood of those creatures to explain that he is the real master, and that he is the only king in the eternal history. Sir, Biangan really doesn't want to leave you, but... At this moment, the empress of the other side, even though she had thousands of words to say, finally chose to remain silent. Sir, the other side is gone. I hope I can still see you on the other side after all the reincarnations. And on that road, sir, you must reach the end. This is the other side's last wish. As she spoke, the figure of the empress of the other shore gradually disappeared, along with the gorgeous and enchanting sea of flowers on the other shore, and the last gift she left to this world was only a drop of tear. One drop of tears is enough to break all living beings. Countless creatures saw this scene, their eyes turned red, and those emotional female creatures burst into tears, especially Nan Yi, who hadn't even had time to say a few words to Sister Bian. Sister Bian, Empress of the other shore, immortal realm, will definitely remember your deeds. You, my Empress from the other side is gone. Sir, you must bring back the Empress of the other side. Please, we can even sacrifice our lives. We, the descendants of the immortal realm, kneel down to bid farewell to the legendary Empress. We, the descendants of the immortal realm, kneel down to bid farewell to the legendary Empress. On the other side, the Qing Emperor and the first-generation Chong Pupil Emperor finally ended their battle at the last moment, and the two supreme beings had been completely destroyed by their supreme means. They spent countless energy and finally killed the two Yuan-Su supremes. At this moment, they were extremely weak, and their figures were constantly alternating between reality and reality, as if they were about to disappear. Afterwards, Qing Emperor and the first-generation Chongtong also slowly walked up to Li Bai. Sir, Xiao Qing, finally killed the Supreme One by himself. Sir, Chongtong finally killed a Supreme One. King Di and the first-generation Chongtong said slowly. I'm proud of you. Li Bai said with a smile, but he couldn't hide the bitterness. On this road from the beginning to the present, countless people around him have perished one after another. In the end, he is the only one walking forward in the darkness alone, with no dawn and no end. And King Di and others are just a little bit of firefly light. He has been lonely for too long, so lonely that countless people have gradually forgotten him. Then, the figures of Qing Emperor and the first generation of Chongtong gradually became blurred and gradually disappeared. Sir, come on, even if we have fallen, we will still turn into that little bit of fluorescence to accompany you on this road. You are not alone. May, in the end, your lord come in triumph. Immediately, the Qing Emperor took a deep look at the countless human beings below. These were his people. However, he, the ancestor of the human race, did not give them the best. In the end, he would turn into a wisp of blood. Earthly obsession. Gradually, King D disappeared. Sir, the first generation has also left. I hope you can find the answer soon. Also, I would like to trouble you again to take care of the child. Immediately, the first generation Chongtong also took a deep look at Chongtong, who was fighting bloody battles, and said slowly in his heart, "Double Eyes, father, I am proud of you. I hope you can finally save your mother." Finally, the two turned into wisps of light and disappeared into the deep space. The last thing they did for the fairyland was to kill foreign enemies. Below, countless human beings had already burst into tears. They hoped that their powerful and handsome King D ancestor could be eternal, and they could accept any price. But they also understood that everything in the end was just a dream. King D may never come back. Wanqi Academy, Qingxian. The fairy race, the stars. The demon race. We, the human race. We, the descendants of the fairyland, kneel to send off the King D, the ancestor of the human race, the first generation of the Chongtong Emperor. The fairyland will remember the two sages forever. May we see you again after the reincarnation of the 10,000 worlds. The creatures of the fairyland, no matter which race, kneeled down to send off at this moment. Because King D and Chongtong Emperor are worthy of them. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 228. On the other side, the eyes in the darkness finally couldn't bear it anymore after seeing the decline of the Outer Realm Emperor. If this trend continues, it will not be long before the entire Outer Realm Emperor will be annihilated. Just look at the battle between the armies of the two realms below and you will understand. The creatures of the immortal realm, one by one, are like chicken blood, rushing. The creatures of the outer realm, one by one, are like taking laxatives, running. No, we can't continue, otherwise, the outer realm emperor will be slaughtered sooner or later. This is not a good thing for us. A spirit creature said anxiously. So what? What does their life and death have to do with us? They are just cannon fodder, dispensable, and we won't feel bad if they die. Let them fight, it's just right for both sides to lose. Anyway, we just need to focus on Li Bai. A creature of the Ming clan said disdainfully. In his opinion, only creatures like them are the masters of the heavens and the worlds, and all other creatures are just chess pieces in their hands that can be discarded at any time. No, it really should be our turn. I feel a breath belonging to the pioneer. Although it is only a weak one, it is also a threat of no small size. After all, among us, except me, I am the real pioneer, and you have only touched a threshold. An ancient clan creature frowned and said, "Pioneer? Is there anyone in the fairyland who has really reached the pioneer, except the Tian clan? And even if there is, I don't know how long it has been fallen. Besides, can Li Bai really revive the pioneer?" The creature of the Ming clan asked with great doubts. "Let me think about it. It seems that there are indeed a few who have touched the threshold, such as the Fantian Emperor. I heard that when he entered the darkness, he had already touched a ray of the threshold of the pioneer, but in the end, there was no news in the darkness, and it is not known whether he died. Forget it, Li Bai has been waiting for a long time anyway, we should show up. Since you said so, let me wait and meet Li Bai first." Boom. Then, the entire deep space universe began to tremble continuously, and an inexplicable breath spread throughout the heavens and the worlds. Just this breath, in an instant, made dozens of resurrected fairyland emperors turn into nothingness. And the remaining two Yuanxu supremes, after feeling this breath, also knew that they didn't need to fight anymore, because the next battlefield belonged to these races and Li Bai. Then, they all retreated back into the darkness and nothingness. The Tathagatas who were fighting were all confused. Damn, ran away again. Buddha, you are from the Buddha kingdom, isn't it a bit rude to say that? Your mother, do you know how long I spent to cut off this cause and effect? Seeing that this bastard was about to die, he actually ran away. The Tathagata said angrily, could it be that he would always only by a cause and effect relationship? On the other side, the Emperor of Destruction and the Emperor of Double Pupils were also scarred. In countless battles, the Emperor of Destruction had been completely annihilated countless times. It was a miracle that the two of them could hold on until now and not fall. After all, they were facing a true supreme. Huh? Where is my old friend? The first generation seems. After returning to the fairyland camp, they knew that the Green Emperor and the first generation of the Emperor of Double Pupils had disappeared. Hearing this, the two were silent. Alas, old friend, I don't know when we will meet again. Senior Jimmy, this day will definitely come. I hope so. Then, Li Bai said lightly to the void in front of him. What, you finally can't bear it anymore? A word came slowly from the distant deep space of the universe. Li Bai, isn't this what you have been looking forward to? We are humming here. Then, four figures slowly appeared in the vast universe. They are the creatures of the Ming clan and the Ling clan, and their appearance is almost the same as that of the creatures in the fairyland. As for the breath they give people, it is also very special, as if they are four ordinary creatures that can't be more ordinary. Ling clan, Ming clan. Why, those old things of the ancient clan still dare not show up, are they so afraid of death? After seeing these four figures, Li Bai said with a little surprise, it seems that the name of Ninja Turtles has been confirmed by their ancient clan. The four of us are enough. You. It's not that I look down on you, but you four haven't reached the first place yet, how can you have the courage to say this? Or did the old immortal of the ancient clan give you the courage? Li Bai said sarcastically. So what, you are just the first place, at most you just touched the threshold of exploration. A creature of the spirit clan said lightly. Who told you that I am the first place? Li Bai said with a smile. Haha, if I am just the first place, I have lived like a donkey for so many years. Li Bai shook his head and said. As for the creatures in the fairyland, they were at a loss. What are they talking about? I don't understand it at all. Yeah, what is the first place, what is the exploration? At this moment, some great emperors finally understood the truth, that is, the emperor's fall battle that Li Bai launched before was just for fun. If he was serious, the entire immortal realm would be destroyed in just one thought of his. Got it? Boom. After Li Bai finished speaking, he burst out a ray of breath directly at the four people. Just when this breath came out, the entire world and countless regions trembled at the same moment, as if the entire world could not tolerate this breath. In an instant, the four people's faces turned ashen, because they couldn't figure out this aura. There is only one such situation, that is, Li Bai's realm is far beyond Xian, even reaching a level they dare not imagine. No. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. You are not an origin creature. Why, can you break the restrictions? You still don't understand me very well. Nothing is impossible with me. You can also regard me as the origin creature. Li Bai said lightly. At this moment, the three creatures of the ancient clan could no longer hold back, especially the forerunner among them, because even he could not grasp the aura emanating from Li Bai. At this moment, they had a new understanding of Li Bai. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Start, Invincible, Met the Empress's Apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 229. Li Bai, who are you? No, what kind of creature are you? You are definitely more than this identity. In front of Li Bai, three figures appeared again. Even the weakest one was half a step ahead. "Oh, you finally showed up," Li Bai said lightly. "Impossible, this is absolutely impossible, Li Bai. If you really have such strength, why don't you overthrow the entire world? If you really have such strength, why are you still imprisoned? If you really have such strength, why don't you use it directly instead of delaying it until now?" The forerunner of the ancient tribe ignored Li Bai's teasing, but stared at Li Bai and asked, "Wait a minute, you ask so many questions at once, which one should I answer you first?" "Answer me first, be the first one." "Well, it's very simple. I have no interest in the world." Li Bai spread his hands and said. "The second. As for me being imprisoned, haha, I can only say that the relationship is too complicated. Even if I tell you, you may not understand it, unless it is the one from your family. Explore." "What about the third question?" "It's also very simple. This era, this universe cannot accommodate me. In other words, in this era, I can only improve my realm to this point. Do you understand what I say? What's more, because there were creatures in that area monitoring me, it was hard for me to show up and take action." Li Bai pointed to a certain place and said slowly. "That place, you mean?" Speaking of this ancient clan went first and his eyes widened instantly. "You are a smart man, you should know what I am referring to. That place, actually still exists. Didn't they long ago?" the ancient tribe asked hurriedly first. At this moment, countless creatures heard the conversation between the two people, like old friends they had not seen for many years, and wiped their eyes unconsciously. "No, why are we still talking about this? Aren't they mortal enemies? Shouldn't they start fighting whenever they meet? No, the higher the realm of creatures, especially the creatures like adults and ancient tribes, the more cautious they are in starting a battle, because the cost and consequences are too great. This is also the reason why the ancient tribes have not come forward before." Emperor Annihilation said slowly. "Let me ask you a question." Then, Li Bai said lightly. "All ears. What is it called when the light of the beginning breaks through the darkness?" "Origin, this is not a secret among creatures like us." "What about before this light?" What do you mean?" "Let me ask you one more question, are the origin creatures really the products of the beginning of the beginning? Is it possible that they do not belong to the beginning of the beginning, but belong to the past?" This. Hearing these words, the brains of these creatures from the ancient, Ming and spirit tribes were about to explode, and their CPUs were almost burned out. They were as if they were listening to a book from heaven. They knew every word clearly, but they didn't even know it. "I can't understand it in one sentence. You guys are really pig-brained, so stupid. My analogy is very simple. Origin creatures, such as supervisors, since they have never perished, why have they not appeared until now? Even just now, they only warned me. Isn't it, not because of the restrictions of the law of absolute beginning? You idiot, the Taisha shackles may be useful to you and me, but they are of no use to them." Li Bai said speechlessly, "Talking to them is really a waste of brains." Stop scolding, this, we don't know." After thinking about it for a while, the ancient tribe said a little aggrievedly, "He was not an origin creature, how could he know this?" "It's simple, because they are afraid." "What the hell, scared, Li Bai, are you sure you used the right words?" The ancient tribe heard this first and said in disbelief. He really couldn't understand why there was something that made the origin creatures afraid. "I'm sure of it," Li Bai said extremely firmly. "Then, what are they afraid of, and what is the answer?" "I don't understand either." "Me too." Afterwards, the creatures of these three tribes looked at Li Bai eagerly, their eyes full of desire for the truth. "How the hell do I know what the answer is? If I knew it, I would be able to hold it in for so long. I am also looking for this answer so hard. Li Bai said angrily, did these people really regard him as a prophet? Don't you exist in both the past and the future? The spirit beings glanced at Li Bai suspiciously. You're a bunch of idiots, I'm too lazy to talk to you. Li Bai cursed, he was really depressed to death. Okay, if you don't talk about this, then why did you expose your breath just now? The ancient tribe went first, and seemed to realize that what he had just asked was a bit embarrassing, so he changed the topic. Why do you care so much? Don't forget, we are hostile now. Li Bai said lightly. Oh, right, aren't we going to kill Li Bai? Damn, I almost forgot that we have a blood feud with Li Bai. Ahem, but can we really beat him? Or, run? I think it's okay. A gentleman's revenge is never too late. No, how will we be viewed by other races? Then, the creatures of the Ling clan and Ming clan kept whispering. I say, are you still going to fight? Or, I'll slap you to death with one slap. Li Bai said impatiently. No. Absolutely not. Do me. Hearing this, these creatures said in unison. Then what do you say, what should we do? He, Li Bai, your realm is higher than ours, this is not fair. Yes, it's not fair. Hearing this, Li Bai was instantly angry and laughed. He found that these creatures were quite cute, and then he became playful. Then tell me, how should we fight? Well, let the fairyland and the outside world fight first, and we will discuss it. That's right, discuss, discuss. Hearing this, countless creatures were shocked. How could these creatures bargain like buying vegetables? Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 230. I think, you made a mistake. Li Bai shook his head and said slowly. What's the matter? That means, now it's up to you to discuss it. From the moment you decided to attack the immortal realm, you were already dead. It was just a matter of time. The era restarts, Taisha space. Li Bai exudes an aura that is not in line with this era, and is independent of the heavens. Subsequently, under the witness of countless living beings, the entire vast universe was directly divided independently. The atmosphere belonging to this era was gradually dissipating, and the stars were annihilated one after another. On the other side, the boundless sea bordering the edge of the immortal realm is also constantly boiling, and streams of breath rush out from the bottom of the sea, as if there is something terrifying under the boundless sea. At this moment, there was no sign of life on the dark and cold seabed, only the endless deep darkness. Suddenly, in the darkness, a pair of eyes suddenly opened. Well, this breath is Taishu. Li Bai, what exactly do you want to do? We don't know either. What about the dark side? Maybe they are waiting and watching, do we need to take action? No, first of all, the time has not come. Secondly, those supervisors and those origins are gradually awakening. What we want is not only the fairyland, but also the origin. Anyway, even if the heavens are annihilated, they will not affect the boundless sea. Go on, wait patiently. Anyway, we have endured it for countless epochs, and it won't be less than this time and a half. Yes. Yes. Then, these pairs of eyes slowly closed and disappeared into the dark and cold seabed. On the other side, although the entire vast universe has not changed much from before, it always makes people feel as if they have returned to an ancient era. Because the breath of this universe makes them extremely uncomfortable, and it is constantly repelling them. It is as if you have entered a living hole, but you are too big, and this hole keeps pushing you out. It hurts and hurts you to be excluded. Even if you finally endure the pain and think you have conquered, there will still be streams of clear water flowing out. Sigma, degree, Li Bai, are you serious? You actually used all the laws of the beginning, just to strengthen this space, or to kill us. Degree, Li Bai, you're humming crazy, aren't you? These creatures from the Ming tribe and the Spirit tribe roared crazily at this space. Wherever the sound waves passed by, the space did not shake at all. After all, only Taisha space can withstand the unbridled fighting of creatures like them. However, Li Bai ignored all this and pushed it out with one palm, without any nonsense or giving them a chance to discuss. Because, no matter how they discuss it, their final outcome will be the same. Boom! In an instant, the entire universe seemed to fall into silence and imprisonment under this palm. This palm is a palm that restarts the era, and it is a palm that annihilates the long river of history. At this moment, several of the creatures from the three major races, except for the Forerunner, immediately broke out in cold sweat after feeling this aura, and an emotion called fear continued to ferment in their hearts. However, they can't sit still and wait for death. Although they can't defeat Li Bai, they can still try to protect themselves. The sound is so majestic that all worlds are annihilated. Thousands of spiritual changes, sinking. Boom! Several powerful and unparalleled moves appeared in this Taisha space, trying to resist Li Bai's terrifying palm. Alas, it's just hostility after all. This is a grudge that cannot be resolved even through countless epochs. The Forerunner of the ancient clan sighed. Under this sigh, it seemed that all the heavens and worlds were about to be annihilated. Then the Forerunner of the ancient clan took action directly. The path of pioneering, evolution, pursuit of hatred. Ancient secret technique, shocking to death. In an instant, a road that had never been seen before stretched for hundreds of millions of miles across the universe. This road is covered with blood and filled with countless corpses. From the great emperor to the supreme, corpses of various creatures emerge in endlessly. However, the end of this road cannot be seen. It seems that there is still a long way to go. This is the path of the Forerunners. What is a Forerunner? To open up a road that has never been done before is to be a pioneer. As for the explorer, it is based on this path, taking this path to the end, and exploring areas beyond the cognition of living beings. It's a good road. You are among the pioneers and you are considered one of the good ones. It's a pity that you have encountered too many obstacles and too many disasters on this road, but you have not passed through it. Li Bai stared at the road and said slowly. Haha, I am deeply honored to be praised by you, Li Bai. The ancient tribe went first and said with a smile when he heard the sentence. Indeed, you are indeed very good at receiving my praise. Haha, let me see how terrifying Li Bai is. When the words fall. This palm directly collided with the moves of the three tribes of creatures in a century. Boom! The entire primordial universe is constantly trembling, and the primordial laws continue to appear to reinforce the primordial universe. As for the countless creatures below, they are already stunned at this moment. They have never thought that there would be such a terrifying trick, and even their brains can't make up for it. It can be said that if these people collided in the universe just now, it is estimated that the entire eternal barrier has been turned into powder, and the fairyland may have been gone. This is the battle above the first move, and they don't belong to this space. Is there really such a terrifying trick in the heavens and the worlds? I feel that I, a mythological emperor, am like a mayfly. The Emperor of Time looked at the scenes in front of him and said dully that he would fall into the abyss of eternal calamity with just a little aftermath of the explosion. Now, he finally understood what Li Bai said to him that day, if you don't enter the first move, you will end up as an ant.